Today we're going to talk about interpreting pie charts. I'm pretty sure that you guys know how to interpret a pie chart with the basics of it. We'll talk about a little more of the advanced stuff today. So if I have a pie chart, it's a circle, and that whole circle represents 100%, right? 100% of some number, right? So this represents the whole, right? What we can start to do is we can start breaking it down into smaller parts, right? Well, now this isn't 100%. Well, the whole thing is still 100%, right? But what does each one of these halves represent is going to be 50%, right? So it's 50% on the top, 50% on the bottom, right? And those could also be fractions. We could say they're 1/2, or they could be decimals, 0.5, right? All the same thing. And what we can start to do is we can break it down a little bit further, right? Like, what if I were to break this down into something like this, right? Where this is definitely, we'll call this 1/3, this is 1/2, and this is 1/6, right? Well, what I do want to take a look at is what happens when they want to know the actual numbers. When they told you that the total of this was, I don't know, let's say we were asking a question, and your responses were this: that 1/2 of the people said yes to the poll, 1/3 of the people said no to the poll, and 1/6 said maybe. Right? Well, again, we have yes, no's, and we have maybes. What if I told you there was a total of 528 people that we asked this question to, that we asked some question to? We asked 528 people some question, right? Well, again, if we want to know each one, now we know that the yeses were the biggest, then no's, then maybes, right? This is the biggest part, the medium-sized part, and the smallest part, right? Well, all we need to do is take these and we can multiply them, right? What's 1/2 of 528? What's 1/3 of 528, right? Of means multiply. What's 1/6 of 528? Well, 1/2 of 528 is 250, and 14 is going to be 264, right? 1/3 of 528. No, cut you guys some slack. I'm not listening to the math out loud. 528. Remember, multiplying by 1/3, dividing by 3 is the same thing. 176, and I believe that's going to be 88 then. Okay. 1/6 times 528. Okay, 88. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and big thing. So that you can always check if you have the time. You know, a lot of times pie charts are broken down a lot of different parts. But the big thing is this: if I add these three numbers together, 1/2, 1/3, and 1/6. Well, again, I don't want to take you guys back to 4th grade too much, but that's 3 6 and 2 6 and 1 6. That makes 6 6 for the whole circle, right? If I add these three numbers together, I'm going to get my total, which is 528. So it's a good way to check all together when you're done if you have the time. Okay. So it says an ice cream shop in Middletown sells a variety of different flavors and keeps track of weekly sales. The ice cream shop served 100 scoops. How many more of these scoops were cookies and creams than vanilla? Well, when it's 100 scoops, that makes this problem inherently easy, because what does that mean? 35% means per 100, right? So 35% actually just means 35. 30% vanilla actually just means 30, and 35 cookies of cream actually just means 35, right? Percent means per 100. So actually these numbers are very easily transferable to actually being exactly what they say, okay? So how many more of these scoops were cookies and cream than vanilla? Well, you had 35 people get cookies and cream, and 30 people get vanilla. So you're going to subtract those two numbers, 35 minus 30. That will tell us that there were 5 more people, or 5 more scoops of cookies and cream than vanilla sold. Okay, so again, right off the bat, pretty straightforward, because they gave you per 100. As this number changes, it's going to become a little more difficult. Okay. So Allenville University offers 6 applied majors and minors, number of students in each. Which major had the most students? Pretty much we're just looking for the biggest piece of the pie, right? It's electronics, right? Okay, and that's 30% of people. Again, what's the smallest one? Computer science down here, right? And everything else is kind of in the middle. Just be careful, like if they ask you to compare these two pie chart, these two parts of the pie right here, just always double check the numbers if you can. Okay. All right. As part of food drive, 2 friends collected canned food. Reba collected 55% of them. Raymond collected 45% of them. If the friends collected 20 cans in total, how many more cans were collected by Reba than Raymond? Okay, so there's 20 cans total. So what I want to know is what's 55% of 20? What's 45% of 20? Okay, well, 55, first of all, can we work with this like this? No. It's 0.55. And 45 is an equal 0.45. So 0.55 times 20 or 0.45 times 20. Okay. Break out your calculator. 55 times 20. 45 times 20. Right. So 11 and 9. Okay. And again, what do we say from the get-go? If there are 20 cans in total, right? So 11 and 9 makes 20, right? How many more cans were collected by Reba than Raymond? Well, 11 minus 9 is 2, right? So we had 2 more cans collected by Reba than Raymond. Okay, Cedarburg Public Libraries serves a diverse community, has foreign language section catering to non-English speakers. Good for you guys. If there are 380 foreign language books, how many more of these books are Russian and Spanish? Okay, so again, this is 0.35, 0.25, 0.4, or 0.40 if you'd like. Okay, so again, we want to know what's 380 times 0.35. Was 380 times 0.25. I'll show you guys a trick in a second that might help you. So 380 times 0.35 is, oops, and 380 times 0.25. So we got 133 and 95. This is 133, this is 95, right? And so we'd say, what's the difference? What's 133 minus 95? Well, it's going to be 38. Okay. If you wanted a little bit of a shortcut, right? If this, and this is pretty, I try and keep it as straightforward as I can with you guys, but if you wanted a little trick, right? No, I'm going to leave all the stuff there. If you could break things down into maybe 10%, right? So we know that 35% is actually 10% plus another 10% plus another 10% plus a 5%, right? And what you should know is that finding 10% is really easy. So what's 10% of 380? It's 38. What's another 10%? 38. 38, and 0.5 is half of 10, right? So what's half of 38 is going to be 19, right? So again, is it the easiest thing in the world? No, but if you were doing some mental arithmetic, like if you were trying to get some numbers real fast, maybe you could round these a little bit, just to get a rough idea. But also, this is very difficult to do in your head. 38, 38, 38, 19 in your head, not quite as difficult. So just throwing that up there for you guys. Okay. All right. As part of food drive, 2 friends collected canned food. Well, a lot of people doing a lot of good out there. Okay. They collected 110 cans total. How many of the cans were collected by Tess? So in other words, what's 1/5 of 110? 1/5 of 110 actually just means divide 1 times 110 divided by 5. So 110 divided by 5, well, 100 divided by 10 is 20, and 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. Okay, I think that's it. No, one more. Okay, that was the same question, just with different numbers. Okay, so anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions, and we will take it from there. Thanks, guys.